Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We have with us today Monchy Tales, a new YouTube animator, software programmer, hobbist afficcionado, and green Cyclops goblin. Monty, if you care to present yourself.
Um, yes, I do the things. I'm very uh, was not expecting. Sorry, I get nervous. Eh.
Don't
Mm,
worry, it's like two
So
viewers.
I write software to supplement the other things that I'm not necessarily good at, which is why I do so many things. So I'm not the best artist in the world, and animation takes a long time. So if I tried to do either one of them, if I wanted to get a good job done for even a short video, it would take me months. But by writing my own animation software, I can speed the whole thing up because I know exactly how I want to animate, so I can write the software in that manner, making the whole process significantly easier.
Yeah, and that's really working. Since I started following you, you made the what I'm showing here in the background. I think it's showing. Yes, it's showing.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
called Puppeteer Theater.
yeah,
After that, you made sound software for non-copyrighted music for to make your background music, right?
yes. It's just a basic generator. Um, it generates a waveform and then converts that waveform into a chord progression, which I actually learned how to make from a friend, Rymac, who they explained to me exactly how chord progression and stuff works, and all software really is describing how something is done step by step to a computer so it can do it. So I was able to generate about 7,000 songs, and after looking through them, I picked a few of them to go into. Yeah, I'm able to pick a few of them to go into my videos instead of having to spend weeks writing e- pretty generic background music by hand, which might end up worse because of my own human error in the situation.
Uh, yeah, that's very interesting, right? You make softwares like you didn't study music before doing the software, but you study programming, and with that you made music better than you can ever do from your skills.
Yes, exactly.
I think we should do a call out, both Rymax and my avatar, not the ones I'm showing here, but the one that is down there on my build descriptions are made by Rymac. Is MX Rymac on.
You've got a bot. You're gonna want to buy that. I mean, ban that.
Uh, Aren't you scale block this bot? I don't think I can do it on my cell phone here.
Ugh,
Yeah.
rip.
So after that, you recently you are adding some rigging stuff for your puppeteer software. And
Yes.
I think it was very interesting. I'm trying to rig this avatar of mine for some time, and I'm having a hard time. And you decided for a very different approach from most softwares. And I thought this probably maybe I could use this for my for myself because since it would be
I
easier to work with.
I deliberately design all my software to be easier to work with. Like if you got Puppet Theater going in the background, it doesn't have all the features of other animation software. But something I've noticed is that in the last 10 years or so, there's this low effort animation has left the internet, and that's a tragedy because I don't know how many people remember this, but when the internet, when the World Wide Web, when everybody really started to get into like memes and stuff, it was all the low budget stuff. It was all the low effort Flash animation, the cheap stuff. So when they canceled Flash in um December, I knew that that was going to be basically the death of anybody who didn't want to spend $300 in 2 months making a 2 minute video. It's like the video I'm kicking out right now. The once you have the uh, actual doodles, the drawings, the resources, once you have the resources made and record the audio, which, depending on how low effort you want to be, could take between a few minutes and a couple of hours. The actual animation is usually the hardest part because you have to composite everything and move it around and get all the resources. But like in Adobe, if you want to use any of their, because like six of their programs do animation, but none of them do it super well because they're all so complicated. Like they're all for these big corporation, fucking things. Like Archer is made in Adobe, which I love Archer and I love the team who made him because they pioneered the techniques that, became modern puppet animation, modern rigged 2D animation. Look up uh what tip of my tongue. Uh it's got a name. C
From
Lab 2021, which is uh officially now um contemporary fiction. Uh but they took an old show, they chopped up a lot of the stills and then they'd move it around at different rates. And that was the sort of thing that a team of 8 people did in a basement somewhere for a very low budget, but it became this huge show on Adult Swim. And using their success from that, they went on to make Frisky Dingo, and then uh, they opened a new studio and started Archer, and they've been doing that ever since. But that all started from the low budget, low effort kind of thing. These days, everybody's like, if you want to do a thing, you have to do it perfectly. Put 3 years into a 10-minute video. And that's horseshit because you can go back and you can see actual animators and their original pitches are the kind of stuff that somebody did in MS Paint. Rick and Morty was uh, not. We're both over 18 channels, so I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Go find the original Rick and Morty pilot. It's literally called The Adventures of Doc and Marty, and it's nothing but Doc Brown getting Marty to suck his dick for 10 minutes. And it is very poorly animated and stuff. And it was a huge middle finger to the big corporations that had just fucked over the guy who made it. And then somebody handed him a show as a result. You're like, all right, you can make a show with us. And like, from that, you sure? Because that was insane. That's insane that you just did that. So all my software is deliberately written in such a way that it facilitates um yeah, that's exactly what I want it to be. I want it to feel like it's just short, it's just goofy, it's the kind of thing where you don't say to yourself, I want to make a joke, but I also don't want to spend, 3 months on this joke.
it's
So
like
like
Rajada
what
said, this is new grounds material. Uh,
yeah.
we'll get there.
In the background right now, it's just that's literally just a vine of Link saying "It is Wednesday, my dudes," and then screaming. And the joke is obviously, if you've ever played Breath of the Wild, once a week in game, uh, the blood moon rises and all the monsters come back to life. So you're like, ah, fuck this again. And of course, the game gets harder every time. As you progress through the game, the monsters start reviving with like higher power levels and shit. Um,
Before continuing,
but
let me have the call out. Thanks for following me, Malfart and the Worm. Very appreciated. Sorry to interrupt you.
um, but Yeah, so I actually made this same clip in both Adobe and my software to see if my software really was faster. I didn't necessarily want it to be faster. I wanted to make videos. So this is again a 6-second video, and in Adobe it took me a week and a half because trying to line up all the different images and trying to get everything. When he talks, his mouth flaps around and stuff. Uh, there it's so complicated and it takes so long. And then because it's so complicated, they make the back end of the software so complicated. You need a more powerful uh, graphics processor to do it. But there are simple things you can do in OpenGL to make 2D animation extremely easy. My software can handle up to 400 resources on screen without any loss of speed. And this is on my cheap little NVIDIA 1050 or something like that GPU. Like I spent $70 on this thing, um, so that regular people can just a regular, not professional, not rich person with a big fancy computer can just grab this for free, throw the images on screen, and then move them around to uh, uh, the audio clip they use. And that's the way I want the rest of them because I'm going to be post publishing a lot more software. So, like my VTuber software is going to use a very similar back end to this. I've already got the alpha version done, and I'm going to add a front end. And basically, all you're going to have to do is pick an image, load it, and then you'll select how it follows your face, and it can track your you'll it's literally just a drop down list. Do you want it to track the X position of the nose, the Y position of the nose, both? um do you want it to track the exact position of your head, or a cup? It's literally just you drop an image in, you drag it around the screen and scroll back and forth to determine what layer it's on, and then just tell it what you want it to follow. um it also tracks whether or not your eyes are open and your mouth is open.
Yeah, this when I was checking our video the on that rigging part of the software, I realized it was halfway between a PNG tube thing and a VTuber thing. You have a binary reactions image, but you also have depth on movement.
Yeah, that's for a pretty good reason. I was sort of um I don't suppose you can throw up my video as a background on this
Yeah, I
in the
can't. Your Twitch video was didn't have any VOD recorded. VOD.
VOD.
VOD, video on demand, is the recording of the video.
Oh, I didn't know if you were using like OBS or something. Um,
No, I
well,
just running this on Chrome. Like I pressed F11
oh, that's pretty
and
cool.
I just
Um, okay, so you couldn't show my Discord face on there.
not easily, but if you want me, I can show your Discord in
Oh, I was
stream.
just gonna show everybody how it works, but that's cool. Don't worry about it. I should have had a video, but basically, uh, I watched a show called Agaretsko and tried to take note of how everything works on there. So they have different face shapes based on where the face is turned, right? So whenever you select an option for what affects it, you can also select its tolerance. So it only shows an image uh, if the tolerance is met, and that way outside that tolerance you can show a different image. So when I turn my head to the left, my round face then suddenly changes so that it's clearly an image of my face to the left. You can also distort everything based on where the nose is. so that it makes one of your eyes smaller and the other one bigger, and then when it suddenly shifts, you can, like, depending on how you write it, you could just have one of your eyes not displayed. It also gives the impression, because like I'm using static eyes, right? They're just static images of eyes with the left and right looking, but because of the way it distorts, it actually looks like my pupil is moving across the screen. Like I said, it's deliberately simple because not everyone can afford the kind of computer that can run the big expensive software. Not everyone can afford the big expensive software. Even the relatively cheap stuff still requires a relatively powerful computer. But I've tested this and I'm able to get it. Um, I'm able to get it running fairly well using even this shitty old laptop I've got from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, at that point I was trying to make, I'm gonna make it now. This methods of animation that's between PNG tuber and VTuber will make it way more accessible because you have way less technique to have a impression. You have a real 2D model VTubing. I mean, it's a real 2D model, but when you get on a professional $140 per month software for VTubing, they add so much layers and riggings for each part. Like your eyes when your software was 2 layers. I was trying to make a basic eye on another software and it took me 8 layers for each eye.
Oh Jesus!
So that's why I got very interesting. I was almost give up on VTubing. Now I have hope again, once again. And as people are talking about new grounds, I think it's interesting when I decide to make this fun chat thing here once every 2 weeks. It's because used to follow a podcast about animators that they used to invite other animators to speak in their channel, and most of them were animators that were guests at VidCon. VidCon is a convention that happens once per year per continent, sponsored by YouTube. And they always say on those podcasts time and time again, there is no more space on YouTube for animators to do their things. They can't just be like, I'm gonna make an animation and they're gonna make money from it or gonna be seen because the algorithms just show the biggest animations and the biggest animators have to release one animation week per week per month, and also those same animators have a team of like 20 to 30 editors,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
that's
not something that's possible. And the Newgrounds recently reacted to that. It seems that they had many remodelings of their systems, so smaller animations can be shown there more easily. And I think that's also important to have a channel that's not only for the big people with big monies.
I completely agree. Um, every time, one of the things I can't stand about YouTube is a lot of the people who get big on YouTube, because these days I started on YouTube almost 13, 14 years ago, and I've never gotten very big because um, a combination of personal reasons, but also because of hidden stuff they never tell you. But it was always fun to still make the videos and stuff. But when I first started, it was viral videos, this and webcams that. It was just a whole lot of regular people making regular videos. It was supposed to be regular people making regular videos, just webcamming it up and stuff. These days, everyone treats it like a fucking TV channel, like Fox or something. And as a result, you all the biggest YouTubers these days, even the ones who started out small, they were the ones who were recording their own videos and edited their own videos and stuff. These days, like everyone's got millions of dollars to throw at teams of animators and editors and stuff. And it's a little annoying because a lot of them don't advertise that fact, but they still present themselves as small, regular YouTubers with millions of followers and stuff. One of the reasons I appreciate his name is uh, Film Theory, Game Theory, Food Theory. The guy who's running that, Matt Pat, is because he's always been very open about that. He has a team behind him. He used to record in a closet, and now he's got a team in a studio and everything because he runs a business. And he's always very open about that, and I appreciate that because there are other people much larger than him that act like there's nobody behind me. I'm a regular guy like you. How do you do, fellow kids? And it's like you're full of shit. There is no fucking way you put out a video every 2 days that is 30 minutes long and edited to hell. You would never sleep at all, especially when it's clearly like they're doing like half the time it's edited them streaming, but it's like from 10 hours of stream. Like where between that 10 hours of streaming and 2 days later the video came out did you actually edit this video? You are a liar and you are making people think the wrong thing. And the lying on YouTube really has to stop. There's not a problem with somebody being like, I have a team. There's not a problem with that. But lying about it, or even just not telling everyone, is oh, hello, Missouri. Um, enough to make it a problem. For example, recently somebody died. They were shot to death doing a quote YouTube prank. And they've probably been watching these pranks like they were 19. They were probably been watching these pranks for as long as I've been hearing about them, nearly 13 years now, where somebody runs up to you in a mask with a knife or something and says, "Oh, I'm going to kill you," or a gun or something. And the other person's like, "Ah," and freaks out, and it gets millions of views. And people have been criticizing it for years because some kid watching that one day was going to try that, not realizing most of those are staged with stagehands and hired actors and all that other shit. And sure enough, somebody got shot and killed trying to make one of those videos. And this isn't the first time this is one of the most extreme examples, but shit like this happens all the time with people not realizing that stuff is staged and people are actors and stuff is edited. So you have people who want to be big YouTubers wondering why they can't make content as fast as these big YouTubers do. Game Grumps has a whole studio, big studio full of people they talk about all the time. Once again, love them to death because they're very honest about what they do up front. And as a result, they're able to just 2 or 3 times a week spend 10 hours recording videos. They hand that over to the editors and stuff with notes. They've got a special timer whenever they're like, next time on Game Grumps, and they hit a button and that timestamps this is where you cut the video, making everything a lot easier for the editors. And that's great. But there are other people who try to emulate what not Game Grumps, but other groups do, not realizing that those groups have the same kind of studio setup as Game Grumps, and then spend all their time working themselves to death trying to do something that no one who's big actually does. And that's why I want to put out all my software. That's why I want to do this so that people can just scribble into, even my software is supposed to get out of your way. If you make high quality, high resolution art and use traditional cell techniques to animate, this supports that. So you can make that high quality good shit without worrying about that the software is going to get in your way with all its fancy gadgets and shit. Drop the image list in, tab through them frame by frame, boom, you've animated. All up to you. There's even a frame by frame key support, so you can literally just hit enter, hit down, hit enter, hit down, and it'll go through each frame if that's how you want to animate. So that somebody's somebody's not working themselves to death trying to just make a short video. I'm working on a set of videos right now, D&D shorts, where I'm basically going to take a bunch of stock images and animate them to stories that somebody else wrote. We're collabing on this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I don't intend to spend more than 10, 20 minutes on each video because they're all going to be about 6 to 30 seconds long. I'm going to post them all on shorts and stuff, which is something I discovered a month and a half ago. And then about 3 weeks ago, some big YouTuber decided to post online, "Hey guys, check out this thing I figured out." And I'm like,
I
"God
was a
damn it,
cou-
dude!"
I was about to talk about that YouTuber. Uh, I won't tell about it anymore. But it's
Oh,
like
sorry.
they also do this their animation entirely on stock images, and I think that's interesting because it's not about money or accessibility for them. They just do it for the aesthetic of having stock images above.
Yeah, the fun fact. I don't know if you saw this video about um, I want to say a year and a half ago. They were there. Okay, so they get their stock images legitimately, right?
Yeah,
Like they're not going around stealing people's photos. They do go to a stock image website and everything. They actually purchase most of their images, but
and then they add a watermark above it. That's
he actually started. He actually posted a few videos without the watermarks, and then people were like, "Well, now it looks weird." He's like, "Do you want me to put my own Spiffco watermark on it?" And they're like, "Yeah." Everybody voted, "Yeah, let's do this." So that was pretty funny. Um, I was one of the people who voted yes. Um, but the people who get big, it's definitely a case of, you get in somewhere and then you slam the door behind you. They not only, by their deception, by not actively helping smaller YouTubers get bigger, you know you don't have to personally go and help every single YouTuber, but if you lie about what you're doing, because they're like, "Oh, you have to spend money to make money," like you're going to convince some person who barely makes 20, $30,000 a year to spend themselves into poverty, quit their job. "Oh, I quit my job and I started YouTube." And they neglect the fact that they quit their job with $150,000 in the bank and three people who were helping them. Like, don't say that shit. It's just like when you see those articles that are like, "Oh, we saved up and we got a house with $100,000 my mom loaned me." And that bit's buried at the bottom, and it's like, don't listen to them. You're not like them. The overwhelming majority of people who try that stupid shit end up poor, which is why I don't feel bad about not investing in GameStop stock or Bitcoin or whatever, because even if, yeah, it's successful and people who did it are rich now, but that's no different than playing the lottery. Buying random stuff people say is going to inflate in value in the future is just going to end up with you having no savings 9 times out of 10. That's not something you want, you know? So when I'm doing this stuff, I'm doing it because I don't want to spend money on these things. I don't want what I'm making to be at the mercy of someone else who can just decide, like with Flash, that my software no longer works. This is all platform independent. There are no network features. I deliberately do not include an update feature so that nobody can say that, "Oh, well, at one point my software is just going to be turned off." It's all free and open source software with the links online, all that jazz. Because if you want to make a simple, quick, easy video, you can. If you already have the resources, like you can make stock image videos, I like to call them, the ones where you just have like stock image characters walking around and stuff, moving around. This thing will record your mouse movements, so you don't have to move it frame by frame. So
hmm.
you can record your mouse movements live, and if you only have the like one character moving around, it takes you no longer to animate than it does for the video to play. That's what I'm trying to do. The VTuber software, I want to be easy enough that you upload an image, you select what it follows, and boom, you're done. Um, I want to create uh, a video game engine right now. That's my current project, a video game engine that uh, you literally just drop in images, type in how you want it to run, no coding required, no big complex backend, and no $300 price tag. You just drop in what you want, and boom, you've got it. And it'll have things like procedurally generated dungeons and towns and all sorts of shit like that. And if you drop in resources to make different characters like a character creator, you can just generate characters. That's the idea. That's one of my next projects. Um, it's a bit of a big one, so it's going to take a long time to actually do. So I'm going to be doing it in stages while I do other stuff.
That seems interesting and way more complex than what you had to show us. Not that the things you showed us are simple. I don't know how simple they are. Never
Believe
did anything this size.
believe it or not, I've been making procedurally generated content for years. It's like the music. Oh, I'm also going to be releasing that, so people can. It'll just be a background music generator, but you can go in and you select your key and the length and the tempo. You can select all the things as options or leave them all randomly generated. Click generate, and you've got a song. So you don't
Um,
have to go, oh, BGM, open source and free, and somehow it still flags you as having uh, violated copyright or some shit. This will be 100%. Use it as you like. Even sell the music. I don't care.
you are going back a little. We're talking about how
Sorry, I rant.
people say like, "Hey, quit your job. If you want to be a successful YouTuber, you should quit your job and do it like 6 hours a week YouTube thing." The podcast was talking about it happens on YouTube, and it ended last month. And that guy was a really famous animator. He was even a guest at many VidCons in many continents. YouTube paid him to go talk about his channel. And yeah, he was just like, okay, I'm not really getting enough money. I have to work. I won't be doing YouTube anymore. And that was a successful case. So
Yeah,
it's
a
a
lot
thing
of
you
people
have
don't
to
realize
really
um,
be sure you're
that
going to do it. You have the time, you have the disposition, and more than that, you have the luck because you
a lot
have
of
to
people do not.
make a lot of viral videos, and those are not just marketing,
Um,
but like also.
I actually, so because I've been YouTubing for so long, I'm actually a little more familiar with how YouTube has changed over years than a lot of people. Um, and what you can do, I mean, what you can do, what I have done over the years is look at monetization rates because on during different times YouTube was more open about it. So only a few years ago, they basically anyone could monetize their videos. As soon as you start an account, like, would you like to monetize your video and get a unique URL and all this other shit? And they took that away for anyone who made less than had less than 1,000 subscribers because YouTube is shit and I hate them. But I you can actually trace over time, especially with if you are able to dig deep enough. When YouTube's partnership program first started, it was available to two groups of people: large corporations, which is where you got these multi-channel networks. So like they would only monetize games if they were through a multi-channel network at one point, and uh, people with uh, sort of documentary, like all the content had to be created specifically by you. So it couldn't be commentary, it couldn't be any of that jazz. And at the time when they first started the partnership program, it was just before YouTube bought them up. I mean, Google bought them up, and you could pay your rent, like the average rent in the United States, somewhere around $1,000. Just thinking about any given place you could live.
That's that's a United States rate. Oh my god.
It depends on where you live. There's places I grew up where the rent is closer to $600, and there's places like now where I haven't found any place under 1,200, and that's a shitty place where you're going to get shot. But like let's say it's $1,000, you could pay your rent back in 2010, 2008 ish with the YouTuber partnership program with only like 50,000 to 100,000 subscribers. When Google bought them up, that disappeared quick. A lot of people reported sudden changes in how they were paid because it switched how advertisements work. But it opened the program up to more people. And when the DMCA really hit, when everybody, when lawyers started suing left and right and countersuing and whatnot, suddenly people could post what's called derivative content. So me playing games could not be monetized. Multi-channel networks lost a lot of power over that. And put it quite simply, 50,000 viewers, 50,000 subscribers 14 years ago would have paid your rent. 100,000 subscribers today might make you 100 to $500 depending on how regular the engagement is.
And
It's a dramatic drop, especially since price of everything has gone up. I don't know if you know this about the United States, but the average rent's almost doubled in the last 15 years. Um, so if I wanted to make a living on YouTube, and I'm sure everybody's noticed this, you basically have to have either an insane number of people sell merch or get a sponsor. Because sponsors can personally pay you closer to like I want to say 10 cents per thousand views or something. So that's why some people are able to post videos once a month that get like 500,000 views and still seem to be financially in a good place because of those sponsors. So when people are like, "This is Raycon," it's like you want to feel like, oh, you're selling out, but they're making a living, and I'm fearing the day when somebody on YouTube is like, well, we won't monetize videos that have sponsors now, because it's like for a lot of people that combination of sponsorship money and ad revenue, it's like I'm paranoid about it because they've always seemed to find a way to fuck over anything I want to do. Basically, that's part of the thing. Anytime that I try, oh, I'm going to try this, immediately something happens to make it no longer worth anything. Like the shorts thing. You saw I was posting mostly short form content for most of February and late January because I had noticed that engagement rates were favored over actual watch time. And I did experiments on it, and sure enough, I went from 40 subs to 200 subs in under 3 weeks. And I was working on another batch of short form videos when suddenly he came out with his, and well, that's flooded now. So I can probably get 40 or 50 views per video, but I'm still gonna do it because like what my software is tailored for.
yeah, and you can build a viewership on that, because many of those people that are doing shorts right now, they are like trying to milk this lack of content there, but they will be
Well,
gone for soon. There won't be.
you're
It will be
right.
stabilized,
That is
but
definitely something that frequently happens. That a lot of people post some short form content for a while, but they'll realize that trying to rapidly post short form content um, doesn't get you the same kind of numbers and isn't worth the amount of effort. But I have the advantage in that my software allows me to make short form content very, very quickly.
yeah, the shorts doesn't really converse well to your normal videos. People that watch shorts don't normally watch normal videos. And you're talking about sponsors. I can't say about prices and Twitch prices here. I don't know if I can keep this VOD up already, but you try anyway. uh, but when you're trying to make about monetization and sponsorship, ad monetization and sponsorship, it's very important to know how much you're getting per view and how much you can convince a sponsorship get a review. This has a name, and you can make it a better rate with a media kit. So if it's something, if you're trying to make an animation living in YouTube or Twitch or any other social media, seriously do your media kit. Your media kit is very important. You won't be getting a good Young sponsorship without a media kit.
You have
This
you make a very solid point for
and
things like how could you possibly have a like an ad read in the middle of a 30-second video,
yep.
and people who are jumping around from 30-second video to 30-second video aren't going to sit there and watch, my hour and a half long audio drama of Rossum's Universal Robots. But uh, oh, that's another thing that YouTube really needs to be honest about how they target videos.
Oh yeah.
Through experimentation on my side projects, I have a couple of extra channels that I sometimes post content on just to see what happens. And basically, if your audience signs up for something and it's not consistent, they will straight up not see any changed content. So if I get, I got 200 subscribers from short form content, uh, from a low budget, high comedy, rapid pace, that sort of thing. And if I post suddenly 15-minute videos that are slower and more talkative and stuff, YouTube will make sure my people don't see it. And because my people don't see it, no one engages with it. And YouTube only promotes the videos so that more people see it if your subscribers engage with it. I tested that very thoroughly by allowing a video to stay on my channel for 24 hours before I posted it anywhere else, saying, okay, I've got a bunch of subs. Is anybody seeing this? No one clicks on it. It had literally no views. I posted it on Twitter a couple of times, and suddenly it had, hundreds of views rapidly. And I'm like, I don't, that many people didn't see it through my Twitter feed. And I go on to YouTube, and it's like, yeah, we started promoting it, people. And it's like, why did you wait? That's the kind of shit they need to be honest about, because people post videos and not realize that YouTube basically expects you to advertise your own videos. But big channels don't have to, because their videos are so engaged that they just show them to everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing. If you start seeing around June last year, a lot of big channels lost most of their viewings, and yes, most of their non-monetized big channels, like J Starling, their videos are entirely their monetized. Their money comes from outside YouTube. They make YouTube videos, but people pay them to make the videos, so they don't have ads or anything like that.
Yeah. A lot of them.
And the algorithm changes, and it changed so much that they were saying like they kept 2% of their viewership from one week to another. And one of those rules that changes, the 10 minutes rules, don't know if you heard about it. It's like the YouTube try to recommend videos that has between 10 minutes and 11 minutes. So people try to make the video super tightly into that time space. And suddenly it changes. It wasn't that the rule anymore. And people still don't know what is the time slot they want on the YouTube wants their videos to have. So
It's
there are many big channels that still now is trying to fight that algorithm. The changes don't stop. It's written nowhere. And then we
the
have smaller channels. And be like, oh, we don't even have the viewership, but we don't even have the other parts of the algorithm. We don't have nothing to fight to be seen. And that's also why advertising outside is important. When I see my viewership here, I always enter on my statistics and I see where each of my viewership comes. About 70% of my viewership comes from Twitter. and about 5% comes from inside Twitch. And that's important. If you don't know how to use the YouTube algorithm, Twitch algorithm, use the algorithm you want to to generate the viewership. And not saying anything, but like I'm doing digital marketing courses, so if you need help with that, it's cheap. You can hire me. Just kidding. Go on.
Um, there's a YouTubers union that's formed. It was recently properly incorporated, and they're leveraging their position against YouTube to basically force YouTube to be more transparent with how algorithm changes work and give people, give their content creators better cuts and less and not do shitty things like put advertisements on unmonetized channels. It's like, so you get 100% of the effort I put into this, and that's shitty. um, when they basically had it to where everybody could have ads on their channels and stuff, I made $15 over a year, and that was like, not a lot, but at the same time, at least if I had, so like I have a video on my YouTube channel right now with 20,000 views on it. It just happened to go viral. Uh, I could have gotten like a couple $100, which would have been nice when, 2020 and all that jazz. But instead, it's just, however, like, because they definitely tried to put ads on it. So I basically had to market as adult because no, fuck you, YouTube. If you're gonna make money, you better fucking cut me in on it. I get exploited enough for my labor at work. I'm not doing that shit on YouTube too. So when I forgot what I was saying. Sorry, sometimes
Does
I just
the
forget what I was
styling
saying.
lock still works on YouTube? The thing you put something from two different brands, so they both try to make their videos theirs, and so YouTube is like, oh, so two different brands are saying this video is theirs, so you can't monetize for no one, and block monetizing the video.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, you want to be paying me, so you won't be paying anybody.
One of the few things this year has made me truly happy is watching um Metallica's concert get straight up censored by Twitch because it was like that's what they want to do. It was a digital concert. We're gonna stream it on Twitch. It'll be great. And you're like, oh, this is Metallica. Click, which is hilarious because I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but way back in the day, Metallica, because like Metallica was my lullaby as a child. I went to sleep to Enter Sandman. I literally said the prayer in that song as my prayer every night. Um, so then as I'm getting on, as I'm like I'm starting to hit teenage years and stuff, I start hear, oh yeah, Metallica is suing the shit out of a whole lot of people, even random people who have no idea what's going on and didn't pirate stuff at all. They're literally doxing people and like these guys stole our music and it's for a song that was leaked and everybody was sharing around. And I don't know if you know how Metallica got their start, but basically a lot of their songs were not advertised on the big radio stations. It was only put on occasionally on small stations because very few people wanted, because it was edgy back in the day. And people would record the tapes and then make copies of it and share it around because it wasn't available in a lot of places because it was so edgy. And that's how they got famous. And they made all their money on concerts instead of on playing it over the radio. Fast forward to years later, and now they're suing people for copyright law. Our modern like internet censoring every audio that goes over a stream or whatever, that comes from them doing that. So it's very karmic justice for their whole fucking uh for that whole fucking thing to get shut down. Like, yeah, fuck you, man. if you want to be that big of an asshole about somebody copying, like listening to your music quote illegally, like deal with the consequences. You did that to yourself.
And that goes back again. Another thing I realized, why I wanted you to be here, is I tried to create this channel. It's obviously a content channel. It doesn't have only one content. Just the everything needs to be indie to be on my channel. I don't advertise anything that's not independence creation. But I realized very fast that I need to do everything. There, I need sound. I need to make sound. I need images. I need to make images. I need to everything. I don't have the power to hire someone to do anything, and so we have to learn. Oh, at least a little bit of skill for everything. And you were the person that was like, "Oh no, I will learn everything. I will do everything, and they do it in a good way." No,
Content creation in a weird way,
uh,
definitely,
and
definitely.
that's
Oh,
very
sorry.
interesting. I was looking at statistics how much uh, I would need to make a minimum wage on Twitch, and I was like, okay, I won't ever in my life make a minimum wage unless something goes very right in weirdly kind of plans.
No, I completely understand that. Uh, a lot of people don't realize how hard content creation is. So, and again, it has to do a lot with how big YouTubers present themselves. I feel sorry for everybody who tries to get into it and really jumps headfirst into content creation, thinking that uh, if they just do what everyone else is doing, then they'll be able to make a living at home playing video games or something. And it's like, no, they're lying to you. They are lying to you. The really big VTubers, for example, even the super nice ones, are backed by a team of animators and uh, uh, developers and editors and all sorts of people who make sure that the rig is 100% perfect. They've got this gigantic setup. A lot of them use multiple cameras. Some people don't realize that, but a lot of them use multiple cameras and special dots on their face so that they can get the motion capture perfect so it looks a lot more smooth. I've actually had one person critique my software for not being super smooth. I'm like, I'm running it on a low res camera, like 800 by 600 pixels, on a really shitty um, graphics card because that's what I've got to work with. And if you don't work around, your limitations, because if you don't work around your limitations, you're never going to get past that limitation, and that's one of the main reasons I do everything I do. And I kind of think it's funny because I didn't intend to magically become like a content creator TM. But at a certain point, when I realized that it's perfect because all the things that need doing, I can do, and the things I don't know how to do, I can learn how to do very quickly. I actually wanted to be a VTuber before VTubers were VTubers.
Rajada,
Using
uh,
what?
let's talk about it, Patreon and OnlyFans after this stream if you want. I have some not much information about how those works and may help you. Uh,
Cool. Um, well, uh, when I wanted to start, so it was like when I was 20, so about 11 years ago, I had just started working with graphics programming for video games and stuff. And I thought it'd be really cool if I could capture what my face is doing and try to put that on the screen. But the technology did not exist for a regular low power computer to uh, track my face. The software didn't exist, the tracking technology, that sort of stuff. If I had tried at the time, it would have taken me 6 months just for the camera, just to get something on screen that would have probably crashed. So imagine my surprise when somebody says, "Yeah, there's a technology now where people can track faces and digitize it and stuff." And I'm about 2 weeks ago, I thought to myself, "Well, wait, did somebody has somebody developed a library for facial tracking?" And sure enough, there is a library for facial tracking in Python. It's also in C++, which is why I'm going to migrate my code to C++ because it'll make it significantly more powerful. Just to make that switch. Not going to go into those details, but um, I can create a program that tracks the orientation of my head, whether my eyes are open and whether my mouth is open. And those simple details are all you need to make a basic VTuber setup. And I just rigged it to a 2D model, which was set up the way Agaretsku characters are, right? And that wasn't possible 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Um, I wanted to do Let's Plays, and they weren't a thing 15 years ago when I wanted to do them, but now they are, you know? And not going to go into details, but I didn't have the opportunities at the time to do it, and now I do. So that's one more thing I'm setting up, I'm working on. I want to do this because I've wanted to do it longer than it's been a thing. Um, Most gamers, I think, had the idea. So it's not like me personally, I'm the guy who invented the question mark. It's more like it was sort of an obvious thing that a lot of people had the idea for, that people would want to watch you play games.
Like you have a game you want to share with your online friends. You can't call them to sit on your
Exactly.
couch.
Exactly. It makes sense. But it was like virtually impossible back in the day. And, I had personal issues for years. And, now that I finally have the time, the money, and the ability, I want to be able to do this. So I just make it happen now. And I want it to be available for anybody else who wants to be able to do it. So that's why I give it all away for free.
You know, let me tell you, I love free things. I love free stuff.
The free stuff is nice.
I
Somebody actually told me you shouldn't make everything yourself. Try to find it for free. And I'm like, I am the one who gives it away for free. So I am the one who knocks.
I mean, yes, I think it's some stuff is still should be you should still be using some free free software, open source stuff, more open source stuff, but definitely open source is like we need people that does open source. We need people that moves the Linux community. I say that when I using Windows and your video has active Windows in the corner.
Uh, yeah.
But uh, everything I try to make this the more open source I can. Uh, and the only drawing software I have I learned to do to work with. It started as a Linux project, and it went so well that the same project is now on Windows and on Mac. So it's like, oh, see, Krita is open source. That's the software I was talking about.
Yeah.
Uh, that's amazing. So yeah, I hope you enjoy your time on Krita, Ranjalda, and expecting you to teach me how to use it.
I don't know what Krita is.
Krita is open software for drawing. It's
Oh,
not an image editor; it's a drawing software.
okay.
It's not like GIMP, for example. And it was made for the Linux package. I don't remember which package it was. Arantus will be adding it sooner or later on the chat.
I'm kind of on the slightly frustrated. I use GIMP and Paint Tool Psi for my art because GIMP has certain features nothing else does, and I don't even understand why. Like, for example, the color erase feature is a function of every brush. So when I'm digitizing my drawings, I get I scan in. It's a white, piece of paper with black lines on it and stuff. So I have to erase the white while keeping all the black, and I just go in and I color erase, and then I will lock the alpha, and then I'll paint everything over in black because the ink shows up as a slightly purple color on my scanner and stuff. But for some reason, I can't figure out a way to do that on anything else. And even if there is like a way, it must be so complicated that it's buried somewhere. Because anytime I try to look it up, like I want to erase a specific color, it's usually like, oh yeah, you have to go through this multi-step process to use a filter and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, dude, on GIMP, I click two buttons and it's erased.
Oh, on Creator, you press the select color, then delete. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Paint, on Clip Studio Paint, their fill tool is a lot better than GIMP's because GIMP has an option to select by line art detection, but their algorithm is so slow, and I guess that's probably because if they use the same algorithm, it would be insanely like somebody would be like, oh, that's copyright infringement or some shit because all corporations can do is sue each other. Um, and as a result, I have to use Clip Studio Paint in order to just do a bucket fill of the line art and stuff before I start do proper color and everything. So I have to switch back and forth because they both have tools the other doesn't have, and that's a little frustrating. But I am not willing to put in the amount of effort required to make GIMP better because, unlike writing my own short, simple software, the graphics software is way better developed than the animation software.
Uh, the Clip Studio is something that I always think to get for myself. I discovered recently they can use Photoshop brushes. That's
Hmm.
interesting.
It's
And
on sale right now, and it's actually really good. I do recommend it.
it's something Krita won't be having because, as you said, corporations use people.
Mm,
Yeah, but then that's a bad concept. But Krita is such a lovely baby, you know. I can
yeah.
just give up on it. So, anyone here has any closing questions? Probably not. They never have questions. Sometimes it's just like you're teaching a fifth grade school. Someone's like, there was a question, is the kid in the back of the room be like, I didn't get anything. What, what's a forest?
Oh, oh, sorry. What was that question?
Uh, just going there. Yeah,
Mm.
Paul. I sorry. I should be yell a little bit more so it reaches you faster. But thank you for showing fun, and thank you much for coming here. I think Monchy's YouTube and Twitch is under in the bottom of the
Um,
screen.
I hate the fact that I can't get a custom URL on YouTube. It's just like you just look up Monchy Tales on YouTube, and that's me.
I will tweet both those links,
Mhm.
make it a little
uh,
more accessible. And I think this is it. Uh,
uh, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here. Yeah, it's great to have some more revolting souls on stream.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think I can how I forgot the word. the VOD of this video have to be downloaded and uploaded to somewhere else. I think I won't be allowed to put it on Twitch anymore. But it was mm, way nicer than having a following the terms string. So thank you very much for the talk.
Yeah.
Thank you all those that listening. And yeah, there's no self-made influencer. There's no self-made billionaires.
Yeah.
Goodbye.